Alright, it should be no surprise. I'm super excited to do this matchup. We're back at it with my Star Wars Versus series with another installment. This was actually a purchased battle, which I was going to do most likely anyways, because it's one I talk about all the time when it comes to contentious battles in the Star Wars mythos. This is Plo Koon versus Kit Fisto, both very highly regarded masters from their time. If these two clashed, who would win? I'm the one that's going to try to tell you today who I think would win if they battled. If you like content like this, make sure to run the likes up. Let's try to hit 200 likes. That would be amazing. I'm going to try to get you more Star Wars content even faster. I'm plotting on hopefully recording Dark Empire Luke Skywalker versus Exile Kenobi today as well. So that'd be super dope if I get that done. But yeah, if you want to see your favorite content here or on my second channel, the Coffee Shop, make sure to hit me up on Discord to talk about purchasing. The video package is 3 videos for only $50, and I'm going to be doing purchase videos every other day, so they'll be flying out very fast, very soon. But anyways, let's get right into this. I hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, let's begin. Now, let me explain why I chose this battle. One, like I alluded to before, both are legendary Clone Wars generals. We're talking about some of the most feared Jedi to grace the battlefield during their time in the Heart of Evil. Both were very productive on the battlefield and legends. Both are considered damn near extremists as Jedi. Both dabble in the dark side, aren't afraid to skim that line, and it makes them kind of extreme compared to others. And finally, one is kind of king of the sky, with Plo Koon being one of the most formidable Jedi ever in the planes, and then Kit Fisto being an absolute monster underwater. So if these two were to clash, who would win? I will be breaking down their physicals, skill and intelligence, then hacks, abilities, and gear. I hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, let's begin. Now, first we're going to talk about Kit Fisto, a young, bright, promising Nautolan male. Kit Fisto was quick to rise in prominence in the Jedi Order as a courageous, spontaneous representation of the light side. Known for his prowess underwater and his courage under fire, Fisto eventually became a master, worthy of a seat at the Jedi Council. He was a legendary Clone Wars general, winning several key battles. He met his unfortunate end at the hands of the immensely powerful Darth Sidious. Fisto is remembered for his iconic display of Shi-Cho and his nearly unrivaled power underwater. Now first, let's review physicals. A Nautolan male in prime condition, Kit Fisto was nothing to scoff at when it came to his physical attributes, being one of the most intimidating physical Jedis of his era. In terms of his best traits, it is easy to argue his speed is his go-to. Fisto casually, in Labyrinth of Evil, blitzed 2 Magna Guards, to the point that they could not touch him and could not react. This is insane because Magna Guards are designed to keep up with and even take down Jedi Masters, yet were just helpless here. Fisto reacted to many Jedi Slayers of his era with ease, including the likes of Dirge, who could go toe-to-toe with Clone Wars Kenobi no problem and even beat up Anakin. It is simply difficult to outright blitz Fisto under, I don't know if I said that right. Might have stumbled my words there, but it's difficult to outright blitz Fisto under normal battle conditions due to his precog and raw speed. In terms of strength, Fisto was nothing to laugh at in this category either. The Nautolan was able to easily ragdoll beings of his size and larger, and was capable of one-shotting elite bounty hunters with strikes alone. Incestus Deception, a dank-ass team-up novel with Kenobi and Fisto. Fisto was shown in full combat mode to essentially be one-shotting anyone his strikes cleanly connected with, even larger alien species. He is a monster once his momentum gets going. Even combat droids and armored beings for combat are still capable of being destroyed from just pure strikes and strength from Kit Fisto. It is obvious that many of his blows are meant to incapacitate. In terms of durability, Fisto had his toughness checked plenty of times throughout his campaigns in the Clone Wars. He took slashes and stabs from Dirge, and even his flamethrower to Fisto's unprotected back still was not enough to put down Fisto. His resistance to blast damage and heavy concussive force is notable as well. Fisto walked off a point-blank missile explosion before and was okay, and it's key to note that he wasn't even looking at the explosion when it happens. He was truly off guard. Fisto has an excellent gas tank and endurance as well. Even this category is noted by Clone Wars Kenobi. Their dueling sessions would go on for over an hour, and while Kenobi was not holding back, Fisto was, and still was just as fast as Kenobi, and easily was able to manage his stamina during a wildly contested engagement. In conclusion, to wrap up the physical side of things for Fisto, I think Jedi Master Kit Fisto has a case for the most slept on, physically gifted Jedi of his time. In terms of pure speed, even Clone Wars Kenobi is his inferior in speed, as a suppressed Fisto is still his superior. While he is not the strongest per se, his momentum and blinding blitzes make up for it. He is tough enough to sustain damage and keep going, and it will take a death blow to slow the Nautolan down. In the end, Fisto is a fantastic overall combatant in the physical department, and should not be taken lightly. Next, dueling and martial arts skill and intelligence. So, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I think Kit Fisto personally is one of the most fun fighters in Star Wars to analyze in terms of what they did in the mythos. A simplistic fighter, Fisto trusts the Force to guide him in the chaos of war. To do so, Fisto designed his skill set to best complement a randomized, blitz-like style. His answer to this was literally simple. Form 1. Taking Shicho to the extreme, Fisto became a god of the ancient basics, and is notorious for switching up attack patterns and vectors on the whim, surprising even the fastest of opponents like Grievous. The benefits of Form 1 is that Fisto does not overcomplicate his bag of tricks. Form 1 teaches the basics of lightsaber fighting, and how to handle multiple opponents. Fisto takes this to the next level, and allows the simple moveset to speed up at an insane rate, tossing in random attacks here and there. This martial arts style also ties into his force power, as he can use the Force to amplify the lethal randomness of his form. We quite possibly have never seen a top form Fisto in dueling, which is scary to consider. Fisto was a pure fighter in terms of the way of dueling. Kenobi himself noted that Fisto was just naturally his superior as a duelist and instinctive tactician, in ways such that Fisto's calculated and relenting aggression and his intuitive movements as a fighter. He also demonstrated that unbalancing him in a duel is very difficult. Landscape, variables, even his own speed, Fisto would alter it just to make dueling harder, and Kenobi still cannot beat him or outplan him. Even Asajj Ventress in Legends prepped to face a monster like Fisto in dueling. Essentially, unless you are prepared for the tornado, Fisto very well might tear you to shreds in a one-on-one duel. Fisto was an aggressive, randomized blitzing specialist. He was shown easily keeping up with other speedy duelists of his era, as Fisto tore through enemies whereas Aayla Secura was still defending. It can be quite overwhelming trying to stop Fisto in a duel, and I do think it's important to note that these Jedi like Aayla and Obi-Wan note Fisto as a formidable tactician and strategist in combat because he's so quick due to him being an intuitive fighter, that he oftentimes lands the first hit and is able to manipulate the battlefield soon after due to his rapid pace. So he actually is considered one of the most formidable tacticians of his time. Even Magna Guards, whereas one who can overwhelm Jedi Knights in duels and can battle Jedi Masters, had no chance in a battle with Kit Fisto. Kit Fisto easily shredded two of them in a duel. Kit Fisto was outright explained to be more technically gifted swordsman in comparison to Obi-Wan, even when they sparred. Considering this, Obi-Wan was already immersing himself in the practice of Surisu, scaling so obviously above this Kenobi in dueling is quite the feat. His unarmed combat is also quite formidable, as even Kenobi couldn't track or keep up with his martial arts onslaughts. When he lets loose with hand-to-hand, it is very similar to his Shicho style, randomized, unpredictable, and dangerous. Even General Grievous had a difficult time doing anything against Kit Fisto. Fisto, in rapid-fire attacks, easily disarmed Grievous once and danced on him, no problem. Mace Windu considers Fisto to be one of the greatest Jedi to ever pick up a blade in battle, putting him in an elite class of well-rounded fighters. Fisto is again regarded as one of the best swordsmen to ever live. He dueled side by side with Mace Windu throughout the Clone Wars, and was considered a complete master of Form 1, a complete and destructive whirlwind of a fighter. The style Fisto practices is ancient in nature, and one of the most unique of methods in fighting in the verse. Most in dueling for the verse simply have not ventured as deep into Form 1 as Fisto has. He quite possibly has ancient moves they won't know how to anticipate in a duel. Even in his loss to a Prep Times Legends Asajj, this is put into question by a confession from Fisto. He could have actually done way more to Asajj, but he chose not to, because he was worried what killing would do to him in that instance, and how dangerous it was for him to embrace the dark side at that level. Simply put, his potential in fighting through Form 1 is insane. Overall, as a martial artist and duelist, Kit Fisto is as unpredictable as it gets. Seeping into a relentless high-speed attack flow, it is damn near impossible to keep up with him. Blinding fast and trusting in his blade, Fisto is one of the best duelists to ever live, and can go toe-to-toe with practically anyone. With that out of the way, let's get into hacks, abilities, and gear. Now, like I said, Fisto is an absolute legend underwater in terms of power, but they're not going to be fighting underwater. So unfortunately, it's kind of null and void here. But Fisto has the incredible ability to bypass precognition, and he can bypass battle predictions and simulations. His style is literally too unpredictable to be calculated or predicted. Fisto has strikes that are advanced pressure point hits that literally shut down entire systems and induce KOs and knockouts immediately. He is a master of force augmentation and can use it at any time. His abilities with force augmentation are so extreme that he's literally out-jumped explosions that took up entire mountains and mountainsides, no problem. He also has insane force senses. This allows him to both evade incoming enemies and have a good idea of where they are and what they're capable of before they even reach him. Fisto has insane adaptation hacks and is unmatched in skill, according to Jedi Master Mace Windu. His telekinetic prowess is massively enhanced underwater, but that doesn't really matter, as it's already very formidable in its own right, and he doesn't need to be underwater to be strong. He is unafraid to dabble in dark force-like practices, similar to how Plo Koon is ready to do so as well. And his force telekinetic abilities extend as far as force crushes, as we've seen him literally crush necks before. He incorporates massive force waves with ease into his dueling style, and is balanced in his attacks with the force. Fisto also is talented with power deflection, as he easily batted aside the energy attacks thrown his way all the time, even sometimes not even looking in the direction of the blast as he deflects it. Overall, Fisto was an unpredictable user of the force, being just as formidable in the force as he was with the blade, and being that he was very random. Excelling in telekinetic combat, Kit is a severe threat to anyone who does not have force shields up. Plo is a Jedi Master who served during the Clone Wars era. Even from a young age, it was known Plo would be a formidable Jedi. His family and bloodline is renowned as a member of the Keldor race with exceptional prowess in the Force. Plo Koon gained a reputation as a powerful general in the Clone Wars, and was known to dabble in arts and abilities that would scare off other Jedi. Despite his many wins, Koon was sadly slain during Order 66 and was shot down. Plo will be remembered for his prowess on the battlefield and his wisdom in the temples of the Jedi. Now, let's get into the physical side of things for Plo Koon. Plo was always a legend in combat, and was even able to physically dominate others even as a Padawan. This was made evident by the fact that he was a war hero by Padawan era in the Republic. This is quite remarkable, again, to be a Padawan and to be dominating on the battlefield to the point you're a legend already by Padawan age. It's just absurd. He was a Keldor alien race male of insane strength that is further enhanced by his force powers. This has allowed him to ragdoll massive alien fighters casually, either concussing them or knocking them outright, as oftentimes he can simply toy with them with his speed and strength. He has been shown to casually blitz and ragdoll large alien criminals, and is consistently revered as one of the most physically daunting Jedi of his era, again in an era where most of the Jedi are forged through the Clone Wars. His speed was literally too much for Aurra Sing, as he absolutely melted her, disarmed her, and had her captive within a couple swift moves. This is impressive because Aurra is renowned for killing Jedi and literally being an expert on getting the drop on and defeating Jedi. So it's quite special that he's able to blitz her so casually, as most would not be able to do that. In combat, clones couldn't even process the speed Plo Koon displayed, as he slayed enemies and cut down what seemed like dozens before they could even speak. He was just an absolute blur in combat, ripping through them. He was fast enough to intercept an incoming bloodlusted Legends Asajj Ventress, who was trying to catch him off guard. This is insanely impressive because Legends Asajj can keep up with and even arguably defeat Kenobi and Fisto at the time, and had done so before. So for Koon to do this is quite impressive. And in my opinion, Plo is actually kind of slept on in his durability. He was easily able to fight his way against Asajj Ventress, and he did so with a broken arm. He took hits to this damaged arm and blasted back Asajj anyway, showing insane resolve and a will to win despite being injured. Plo was also able to go physically toe-to-toe with enraged Savage Repress. Savage, when enraged, just for side scaling, could push back Kenobi and Anakin at the same time, yet Koon had no problem holding his own. Koon even tagged Savage easily, but got distracted trying to protect troopers around him. This was when Savage exposed Plo's only weakness, his breathing mask. Without the mask, Plo will die due to his race's inability to intake oxygen. So he was taken out temporarily in this battle, but if he wasn't distracted by the troopers, it'd be a lot different, as he was physically easily able to contend with enraged Savage. Overall, Plo is one of the most formidable physical combatants during his time for Jedi. While his mask is a weakness point, Plo makes up for this with toughness, disgusting quick burst speed, and formidable strength. Besides the breathing apparatus, Plo Koon is a tough competitor in all other physical categories. Next, let's discuss his fighting and combat skill and intelligence. Plo is one of the most well-rounded and experienced Jedi warriors of his time. He had legendary feats in such wars as the Stark Hyperspace War and was a top-tier wartime general, renowned and called legendary in most encounters he took part in. Plo, in terms of his dueling abilities and lightsaber combat, was a complete master of Form 5. This lightsaber style is built upon the idea of a strong defense, followed swiftly by a brutal retaliation. Plo used this tough defensive tactic and blitz-style attacks to be a dangerous duelist for basically anyone he runs into. Even the legendary Jedi Master, Qui-Gon Jinn himself, notated that Plo Koon was an expert with the blade and an expert in swordsmanship. Keep in mind, Qui-Gon served under Count Dooku, who himself is one of the greatest skilled duelists ever and could keep up with the likes of Yoda and Mace Windu, and even had wins over Windu in sparring. So this is quite a good compliment to come from Qui-Gon. Tactically, Plo likes to either catch opponents off guard or lure them into a false sense of equal engagement. He has shown that he will even literally change the battlefield with the Force to suit his needs and to throw off his opponents. While he has never shown the need to use it in combat, Plo Koon is a powerful mind user and can use the Force to replace or restore memories, which can possibly confuse opponents. His intelligence with the Force and many experiences allows him to be a creative combatant. Plo is also one of the best hand-to-hand fighters the Order has ever created, and he himself is considered a legendary fighter in close quarters combat. Considering that high-tier hunters and fighters in Star Wars learn all conceived martial arts, this is insane for him to be a legend. Plo is so dominant on the battlefield that his tactics and leadership are considered to produce miracles in the fights. He was known for dropping into battles that he had no business winning and literally just turning the tides of battle by himself. Plo was such a dangerous and skilled warrior that Darth Maul himself considered two top Jedi for combat. One was Plo Koon, the other Mace Windu. Darth Maul was under the firm belief that these two would be the truest test of all of his combat skill, putting from his view Plo in perhaps the top tier overall combative tier for Jedi at that time, along with Mace and obviously by proxy Yoda, which is quite the compliment. And to be acknowledged as formidable from Darth Maul is impressive given the fact that he is so anti-complimenting anybody. So it is quite impressive he got a compliment from Maul himself. While perhaps not the best Jedi ever, his quick wit and willingness to use Force to win the day made for one of the most combatively gifted Jedi of his time, as multiple times Plo Koon is considered and remarked as one of the most accomplished and formidable combative Jedi to ever be produced. Plo was also a fantastic lightsaber duelist who was able to duel Savage pretty easily. Savage was even tagged in just a couple panels, and if Plo didn't get distracted, who ultimately knows how the duel would have gone, as literally it was easy for Koon to tag Savage. He even was able to go toe-to-toe with Legends Asajj and controlled the fight for most of the time. Not only this, Plo was injured at the time and could only use one arm. Ventress had pressed Fisto and Kenobi at the same time in Legends, so this is very impressive for Plo Koon to pull this off. Overall, in terms of combat skill and intelligence, Plo Koon is one of the most balanced Jedi to ever take up the mantle of Jedi Master, General, and Council member. His philosophies and brilliance, coupled with quick wit, made him a nightmare to go toe-to-toe with in combat. His hand-to-hand skill is legendary, putting him in the higher tiers of martial artists in the verse. His prowess with Form 5 allowed him to be a juggernaut as a duelist. I'd consider Plo one of the best Jedi combatants in his era, if not all time, in terms of combat skill and intelligence. Finally, let's get into hacks, abilities, and gear. Among his arsenal, of course, for Plo Koon is his famous lightsaber. This blade is of blue hue and is of sleek design. Of course, the blade is damn near lethal if it makes any clean contact in a duel, and this is his primary gear. He does wear light combat armor assigned to some Jedi, but it's nothing of crazy help in terms of durability. His force powers were devastating in combat. His ability to change the battlefield is credited to the fact that he not only is powerful in the Force, but he is a brilliant scientific mind as well. Koon's family and bloodline is also, like I mentioned earlier in the video, among the greatest sages and Force users in existence, as even Grandmaster Luke sought teachings of the Barad-dû sages, which of course, like I said, Koon's family was a part of. His precog and farsight is also very formidable. Even Force users failed to really get the drop on him when locked into combative scenarios. His genes also give him a natural amp to telekinetic aspects, as he has stronger and advanced extrasensory organs. He has absolutely ragdolled opponents with the Force, including the likes of Asajj Ventress, who can combat other council members in the Force, yet got ragdolled by Koon, who also Force pushed something she had on her later. His telepathic prowess and power in combat even led him to look down on Jedi Master Kit Fisto in combative telepathy. His Force push and telekinetic attacks were lethal, as he could dispatch waves of warriors and also could collapse massive mountain tunnels with simply the wave of a hand and the crushing fist of the Force. Koon was also an expert in defensive applications of the Force. While injured, he can deploy Force barriers to stop an avalanche, and can also redirect Force users that are pressing him. Most famously, Koon was a user of Electric Judgment. This is the Force lightning technique, fine-tuned to be more suitable for Jedi principles by Plo Koon himself. While Koon hasn't been demonstrated to use Force or Electric Judgment that much, just one bolt incapacitated a criminal lord that he fought, and the second bolt completely KO'd the criminal pommel, as Plo obviously demonstrated he had an intimate knowledge on the capabilities of that every aspect of his Electric Judgment. And what makes this ability dangerous is that Koon was later confirmed in the Essential Guide to the Force to have completely perfected it and can use it to whatever purpose he needs. It could be to incapacitate, disarm, or even kill if need be. In conclusion, Plo Koon is one of the most advanced Force users of the Jedi Republic era. He also was a dominant duelist, being named among the legends in dueling. Koon is a general with a war-oriented mind and pace, and is a strong warrior who has complete faith in the Force and in his abilities. Now, having examined both of these characters, let's take a look at who takes advantages and then who wins. By the way, make sure to smash the like button if you haven't already. Now, in terms of physicality, the first category to review, I do think Fisto is faster. However, I do think Plo Koon is fast enough to keep up. I don't think he outright gets blitzed. I certainly don't believe that. In terms of strength, I think Plo is stronger. However, I don't think he would just bash through the defenses of Fisto easily. I do think Fisto is relative enough to put up a fight in that department. In terms of stamina, it would make more sense for Fisto to have more stamina. However, both of them have pretty good stamina feats, so it's kind of hard to give either one that. Durability, I gotta go with Fisto due to the fact that Plo Koon does have that weakness with his mask, which can be an issue for him in fights. So having an obvious deficiency defensively, physically, is just going to put you at a disadvantage. So overall, I give Fisto the physical edge. In terms of dueling skill and combat intelligence and prowess, I think the smarter fighter is Plo Koon. I think he's more decorated as a tactician. His battle is more constructed for battle, whereas Fisto's more of like chaos. That's not necessarily just battle. He's kind of just random with it. And he chooses to go intuition more than tactical most of the time. And given the way Plo Koon fights, I think Koon would take the intelligence edge in this matchup. In terms of actual martial skill, due to both being insanely talented with their dueling styles, I probably would call it a tie. However, I do think Plo Koon's a little bit more balanced of a duelist. We've seen him even take on Asajj with just one arm. So I give a slight edge to Plo Koon in the dueling category, but I think they're pretty relative. But given he's a more intelligent fighter and arguably a little better as a duelist in the technical department, I gotta give Plo Koon the edge in dueling and combat intelligence and martial arts. In terms of hacks, abilities, and gear, both are pretty much tied in gear given their lightsabers. In terms of hacks, I do think both have really good cases for TK. I think Fisto's a little more fluid with his telekinetic blasts in battle. Might be a little more dangerous with him, as well as he uses Force Crush, which is a threat to the mask of Plo Koon. However, Plo Koon does have Electric Judgment, does have regular telekinetic abilities, and does have better mind hacks than Kit Fisto. That's been noted in conversation between the two of them. So in terms of hacks, abilities, and gear, given both are formidable, I would probably call it a tie. Given that Plo Koon rarely uses Electric Judgment, and the fact that Kit Fisto has so obviously demonstrated his ability to deflect energy attacks, I think he would deflect Electric Judgment as well. I don't see there being a clear indicator of an advantage on the Force side. Both are powerhouses, and as a result, I'd call that a tie. So, with the advantages reviewed, who do I think would win if these two were to clash in an epic battle? We're going to drop them off in the Forest of Endor alone, where eventually they will clash. Now, to start off the battle, I do believe Kit Fisto would start with aggressive attacks that are kind of measured, but yet still random in nature. That is, trying to pry at the defenses of Plo Koon, see if he can force him back, force an opening, force a way for him to get in, like telekinetic blast, looking for anything. However, stalwart and intelligent in his defense, I think Plo Koon would shore up his defenses and negate this initial pressure from Kit Fisto. Fisto, seeping into the arcane power of extreme Form 1 usage, would begin picking up his blitz-like attacks and perhaps even tag Plo Koon. However, Plo Koon, using Form 5, would wait for a more risky attack from Fisto and then counter with harsh power strikes, forcing Fisto to retreat. And this is perhaps when we see Plo Koon, implement some force pushes, telekinetic abilities, causing them to get distance where eventually they will re-engage. I think at this point, Plo Koon is going to be counter-striking in a much more dangerous rate at this point, finding openings here and there, getting in the head of Kit Fisto, reminding him he's a junior to even the likes of Plo Koon. I think Fisto might even get a little frustrated trying to get through the measured defenses of Plo Koon. And because of this, I think he's going to pay for it eventually. I think Plo Koon will catch him a couple times. Be smarter than him. I think he is a little better in hand-to-hand combat. Fisto's a little faster, but I think in the technical department, Koon's a little better with martial arts. So eventually he's going to wear down Kit Fisto and take him down. I have Plo Koon winning this battle. High difficulty. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know who you think wins in the comment section down below. Who you think would be the superior if these two fought. I'm curious to hear what you comment. And please join the Discord. I love talking Star Wars battles like this. It's amazing to do. Make sure to check out this in the coffee shop if you're new. I do content like this all the time on both channels. And again, hit me up if you want to purchase any videos. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been your boy Jobbers and Goons. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.